everybody. This is Casey. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Didn't expect to hear from me. As most of you know, I am currently on vacation down in Florida, enjoying some sunshine and nice weather down here. But I tried to keep my interviews as the tradition here on the Wall to Wall Country Show. Appreciate whoever is sitting in for me today, taking the reins on the majority of the show. But I always like to call in at least and have the opportunity to speak to my artists, no matter where they're calling from. And, you guys know after several years of this is the tradition here at the Wall to Wall Country Show each and every Wednesday. So let's get right to it, shall we? We've got another great country music singer, songwriter. This guy's got a kind of his own sort of sound, his own sort of niche in the country music industry. Already got a couple of accolades that are niched into his belt, and we're going to be talking about all of those. And I have to say I'm jealous because this guy is working with one of my favorite country artists, and we're going to get to all of that in just a little bit as we progress through the interview here. But make welcome to the show today, Mr. Todd O'Neill. Hey, Todd, how you doing today?
How's it going? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Now you just heard I'm calling in from Florida. I'm enjoying some beautiful weather down there. Where are you today? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, that's awesome. So they're hooking us up, of course, through the studios of Penn's Peak Radio, so my audience doesn't miss out on a great interview. I'm so excited to talk to you for multiple reasons, but before we get to my own selfish reasons, let's talk a little bit about you directly. Now, you kind of had a background in music, but it's a little bit different than where some people might think you would have, kind of gotten the itch for country music. So why don't you give us a little background about Todd O'Neill, who he is, how he got to where he's at in Nashville as of today?
Well, I was born and raised in South Louisiana. And I grew up listening to all kinds of different music from, Cajun. My dad loves Zydeco and, old school R&B like Otis Redding. And my mom was a huge country fan, and so was my brother. I love anything from Brooks and Dunn to Merle Haggard and Conway Twitty. And I started, singing karaoke in high school and doing talent shows and stuff like that when I was a kid. And, I got out in the bar and the nightclub scene when I graduated high school. Kind of went to, we call it honky tonk U, playing in bars and clubs down in South Louisiana, and really just hitting the grind, playing almost every night of the week. And moved to Nashville, around 05 for the first time, and played live, waited tables at the world famous Wild Horse Saloon.
Ooh. But
it wasn't enough at the time because I couldn't afford to pay my rent, so I had to move back home. And I guess it was about a year and a half later, and wound up honestly been back and forth to Nashville for the past. Oh, God, it's been 18 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, so 14 years, really, but been playing professionally for about 18. And, I've played, I've gotten to do so many wonderful things. I auditioned for a Conway Twitty musical here out of Nashville.
Wow.
And got the part for that and toured with that for a season. And that was really great. I got to meet Conway's daughters and his family, really, and became friends, great friends with the Jenkins family. And Conway Twitty's real name was Harold Jenkins.
A little piece of trivia there.
Little piece of trivia. He got his name from, I think it was Conway, Arkansas, and Twitty, Texas.
Okay.
I might have that reversed. It might be Twitty, Arkansas, and Conway. I think I had it right the first time, but he kind of threw his name together, after his record label said they didn't like his name. And, he started out kind of rockabilly. And the show went from this rockabilly thing to where, Conway had developed his sound and his style that, gravelly, kind of harsh vocal at times, that growl that he had. But it was a really, really fun show. I got to work with a buddy of mine, Glenn Templeton, on that. And Glenn has had some success in the big country world as well. And then moved back home, joined a crazy, huge 80s rock variety band, dress-up band for like 3 years. And I had a blast doing that, but I really wanted to get back to my originals, my songwriting and basically getting back to the country music side of things.
And then, so you came back to Nashville, and then obviously you just didn't, go, oh, okay, I'm a star now. But you ended up, paying your dues there in Nashville for a little while. But, you're out there performing, getting recognized, making, rubbing elbows with some of the greats and stuff. And then you ended up getting billed, for some great acts, some people who, helped you out along the way. People like Jason Aldean, Frankie Ballard, Billy Currington. That had to be kind of a great little pinch me moment when that was starting to happen and helping you realize that this is where this was your calling. You did a lot of really cool things and you had to pay your dues and stuff. But was that when it started to be, significant for you?
Sure. I've really been fortunate on that end. We've gotten to do shows with so many wonderful acts. I think I've done like 4 with Jason Aldean, a few with Eric Church and Billy Currington, and here recently we just opened up for Rascal Flatts on Long Island, and it's just been really, really, we've been fortunate on that end. I've done a couple of shows with Rascal Flatts and been working with Jay DeMarcus, who's produced, my last single and my single we just got finished with. And he has been such a big brother to me. I mean, it's so incredible working with Jay because, to watch him in the studio is just, he's a beast. Mm-hmm. The guy's an animal. He can pick up just about any instrument in the studio and play it, on record. That's not easy to do. Mm-hmm. It's such a microscope when you're in that studio and you pick up an instrument to play it. It's very unforgiving. Everything is recorded. Yeah. And you can hear every little sound, every little part. And there's not a harmony part he can't pick out or, a guitar part that he can't just come up with on the fly. Uh-huh. And, anything from bass and keys. And I've seen him do it all. Wow. He's very impressive. So, and then the caliber of musicians that come in his studio, which is in his basement, by the way. I wouldn't call it a basement, but it's underneath his house.
Okay.
It's incredible. And, but from the engineer, Derek Basin and the caliber of musicians we have on the records from, Adam Schoenfeld to Derek Wells and Danny Rader. And, it's incredible. Mm-hmm. It's so humbling to get to work with those guys and such a reward, after playing endless nights, you think all these nightclubs and stuff and clubs and bars and having drunk people shout free bird at you for 18 years. Wow. It's very rewarding. It really is.
Well, that's pretty cool. Everybody who listens to my show and who knows me over the last however many years here at PPR know that my boys are Rascal Flatts. I love those guys. I think I've been a follower from before anybody even knew who Rascal Flatts was. And I just think that's pretty darn amazing and I think it's really cool. And I have to say, these guys are already kind of high on my pedestal list, but for Jay to, help someone like you who's kind of up and coming and whatever, I think that's a huge, huge, huge attribute for those kind of people who they don't have to do anything anymore. You know what I mean? Those guys are
right.
You know what
They've made their mark in country music, and I want to say what a role model he is for me. You know, even at I'm 35 years old, but what an influence he's been on the way I do things and the way, I do my day-to-day routine, because I see how busy this guy is, and he keeps up with his schedule, and he never hesitates to return a call or a text or anything like that. He's always very reachable, and by the way, he's one of the funniest guys on the planet. He's very funny, but I'm a huge fan of Rascal Flatts as well, and since playing for Daylight, I've been a huge fan. So
that's awesome.
I know why they're your favorite.
Yeah,
it's not a hard thing to see for me.
Well, I mean, and that's really cool to kind of get a little bit of that inside scoop of these guys, and for anybody to hear that, not just me, but anybody, because I think what happens is once in a while, you get to that level, and maybe they forget a little bit. They don't always want to give interviews, or they don't always want to reach out to their fans and stuff. And I find that heartbreaking when an artist gets to that point where they feel like they don't have to do that.
Right.
And
if you're a Rascal Flatts fan, you've seen here recently where they popped in on a fan who was actually getting married. Mm-hmm. And they sang God Bless the Broken Road for him at their wedding, just as a surprise, because they were, within a 2-hour drive.
They were in the area.
Stuck up guys don't do stuff like that.
Just so you know, that was my wedding song. That was my wedding song. It was. Really? I had a friend of mine play guitar and a friend of mine who sings, and they did that. That was my song at my wedding.
What would you have done if
Rascal Flatts would have? I would have.
And Jay would have showed up.
I would have fell over. I think I would have first passed out, and then I would have been like, "Let's rock!" That would have been cool. Yeah, maybe I could do my 10-year, thing and have them come and do the 10-year renewal of my vows or something. Wow. Yeah, that was Bless the Broken Road was my song too. And it, I'm sure I'm one of many women who wanted it, but, it's kind of cool. And people like that, and people like, Keith Urban is another one who I find, I watched a video where he had, some girl was holding up a sign about her boyfriend's birthday, and she said something. Yeah, he plays guitar, and
he plays guitar.
Did you see that? He brought him up on, and that guy, man, nailed it. He nailed it.
Really good. And you know what, too? It's not like it was like one of his big, huge radio hits. It was like an album track that hadn't been released, and the guy just nailed it on guitar. That was definitely one for the books right there. Yeah. Really cool video.
Yeah. And I just think that's cool. I think I don't know if it was Jason Aldean or one of those guys too, brought up a little girl, and she ended up singing one of his songs right next to her. I mean, right next to him on stage. There was a video. And he put the mic, and she was belting out the words, and I don't even think she was 10. You know what I mean? It's like, right. So those are the kind of artists, that I just really think they get it. Like, they totally get it. And I just think that's amazing. And I know the boys of Rascal Flatts are like that too. I think, hey, you got to see an old lady, struggling, carrying some groceries out. They'd be the first one to go, hey, wait a minute, let me help you with that. You know what I mean? And I think that's cool that you have that connections with those guys, because, they're going to be there when you need help or whatever. And I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
So, and Jay's doing something for you. You guys are writing music together. I mean, that in itself has to be pretty darn amazing. You have a new single out, a little something called Love Again. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience with you and Jay on how that tune came about? Right.
Well, at the time I was working with Big Machine, label group, and we were shopping songs, and I heard the demo, and it was Brett Young on the demo, who was actually co-writer with Jesse Frazier and Kerry Barlow. And the demo was just super fun. And I can remember, hearing the title Love Again, and then hearing that music and that groove and that kind of funky vibe with it, I instantly fell in love with it. And we must have listened to songs over at Big Machine for 2 days. Mm-hmm. 2 whole days just listening to, hundreds of songs. And that one just really stuck out for me, and I fell in love with it instantly. And actually become friends with Brett. And, run into him in New York City, ran into him in Lafayette, Louisiana. I ran into him here a couple times in Nashville, and just kept kind of bumping into him. So when we got pitched the song, I was like, that's just the icing on the cake right there, because Brett is another one that is just such a nice guy, and great show. I wasn't expecting him to be that tall either. I was 6 foot, maybe 6'2" with boots on when I met the guy. It made me feel, I don't know, very safe and intimidated at the same time.
That's funny.
But, so, yeah, we got in the studio with Jay and Grip Studios here in Nashville and cut that song, and it just came to life, because Brett was telling me the story about, there's a big songwriters fest down in Key West, Florida, that goes on every year, and I've been there, and it's super fun. All I did was drink and try to ride a bicycle. I played a couple of shows, but super low key, laid back, and just right there on the water. It's so fun, so cool. But he was telling me the story of him and Jesse and Carrie getting together and writing that song. I hear these stories of these songwriters writing these songs in 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it just blows my mind, because it takes me about 4 hours and 15 minutes for any song that has ever been created and had my name on. It's taken me way more than 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So, but those guys are just beast mode songwriters, and they're some of the biggest songwriters here in Nashville. And to have Brett give me the okay, a quick story if you have time.
Sure, go ahead.
When I picked that song out to cut it, they said fine. It went up the chain. Scott Borchetta, he's the man. He heard that song, and he said, yeah, that's the one you need to do. Well, about 5 days later, I got an email back saying, hey, Brett put it on hold again for his next album. We think he's gonna hang on to that one to do for next year's album. So I was like, man, God, dog, man, that sucker, he needs to let go of that song. That's when I ran into him in New York. And, I didn't have his phone number at the time, and I wasn't able to just text him and say, hey, Brett, hey, man, I want this song, blah, 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 blah. It didn't happen like that. Mm-hmm. I kind of, reintroduced myself and said, hey, this is what's going on. I'm working with Jay, and we searched through all these songs, and we found Love Again, and that's the one we really wanted to go with. And I'm leaving out the best part. I wasn't supposed to be in New York City that night.
Uh-oh, okay.
I actually got snowed in.
Oh, okay.
We were supposed to be, I played a place called Penn in New York City on Wednesday. Supposed to fly out Thursday. Well, Brett is playing Penn that Thursday night. Uh-huh. I got snowed in, so I wound up making it to his show in a very snowy New York City. And talking to him after the show, told him what was going on. He said, man, I want you to cut that song. You should definitely cut that song if you want to. So he let me cut it. So
wow.
I was super surprised at, how easy that was, and how gracious he was just handing that tune over.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Thank you. Yeah. You can't make up stuff like that.
No. And I think that's one of the things I love about country music. I think it's like I said, for the most part, they're just people doing what they love to do, just like anybody else who's doing a job that they love to do. And I think for the most part, the country music industry is the country music family, and they do like to help each other out. They love what they're doing, and they love to share the country music industry. And you're a perfect example of that. The stories you're telling about how cool all these people were and how you've been treated, by them. And, they're just looking at you just like they were some guy who's trying to do his job and have fun always doing it. Hey, I'm going to help you out if I can, that's awesome.
Right. And another one is Lee Bryce. You
Yeah.
know, you have my latest album. Before we were cutting these 3 songs, and you know, we just got finished with another single. But last year, I had an album drop that we recorded actually in 15, but couldn't release. And there's a song on there called "That Was a Man," and it was a Lee Brice co-write. Kyle Jacobs and my buddy Will Rambo and Lee Brice all wrote that song. But I've ran into Lee probably 15, 20 times here in Nashville, and always such a super nice guy. And I heard he played down in South Louisiana about a month and a half ago, and people telling me they, you know, met him back in the day. He played a club that I managed called Chevy's, and he was just a super nice guy and super laid back. And one of my friends just texted me, and she said, "Look, he's the same Lee. He hung out after the show and talked to everybody, and was just super nice and gracious, and you know, thankful that people would still come see him after all these years.
Yeah.
You know, but he's still turning out the hits, man. This guy, he's one of my favorites in the industry.
Nice.
Definitely.
That's awesome. I can't even imagine what it's like in your shoes for all these people to just really, you know, because I'm sure you're like humbled and all that, and it just be like, holy crap, you know, I'd be like in awe probably every minute of every day.
You know, that's one of the highlights of my career, or the highlights of my career, is getting to work with Jay and, you know, cutting the Brett Young song and cutting the Lee Brice song. You know, those are things that I'll never forget.
Yeah, constantly. And so you've got this great song, Love Again, that you work with Jay. And what I'd like to do is, if people haven't heard it, I'd like to play it. But we got to take a quick break. So if you can hang in there, Todd, for a few minutes, what I'd like to do is take a break. We're going to play your song, and then we'll come back after that, because I'd also like people, your fans, to know how to reach out to you and kind of figure out, you know, how they can find out where you are and all that kind of stuff, the connectivity end of things. So can you hang in there for a few minutes?
Sure, absolutely.
Awesome. So we're talking with Todd O'Neill. He's got a beautiful song out, a little something called Love Again. Now that you guys know the back end story of this song, I want you to listen to it maybe with different ears this time and really, really listen to it. Great works from this guy and Jay DeMarcus. And we're going to talk a little bit more to Todd about finding him on the social medias, how you can reach out to this guy, where he's going to be performing and things along that line, and a little bit more about some of his older music. That's all coming up in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. More Todd O'Neill in just a bit, right here on the Wall to Wall Country Show with me, Casey, right here on PPR. Wow, so there you guys heard it. Now, I know this one's been out there quite a bit, so probably you've already heard the song. But now that you got some connection with Todd about the background of this song, a little something called Love Again. Now, is this just a single still out there, Todd, or is this going to be on an album? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. It's available on iTunes, but, you know, this song took us all the way to number 36 on Billboard, and you know, doesn't sound like a whole lot, but for a debut single, you know, something that a new artist like myself coming out, you know, in 2017, that was a huge deal for me. You know, it's a top 40 on Billboard. I'll take it.
Yeah, sure. Well, you know, I mean, that's the best, you know, you've got right now. So you always want those great moments, and you want to live them through, you know, you want to let them live. You know, you don't want to cut them off at the knees. You definitely want to let it live. And it's still a great song. I know it's a 2017 song, but we're still early in 2018.
That's right.
Plans for 2018? Gonna do some touring 2018? What's on the docket for your fans to be looking for?
Absolutely. Jay and I just finished up 3 more songs. And so we have some big plans here in Nashville, and absolutely doing some touring. I honestly never stop. I do play some shows here in Nashville, and actually been playing Dirk Bentley's new place, Whiskey Road, and which they had a huge grand opening a few weeks ago with Thomas Rhett and Dirks and Brothers Osborne, Mary Moore's. It was so much fun, but it's been great. You know, just touring and then playing here in Nashville and playing a few shows back home in Louisiana. And just, continuing the grind. And I say grind, but I mean continuing the thing I love to do most is to play music.
Awesome. And how can people find out where you are? Are you on the social medias, the Facebook, the Twitter? Is the website the best way? How can people check in on you and communicate with you?
Sure. My personal favorite is Instagram. I like Instagram the best. It's less spam. It's, it's easy to do. It's not much to it. It's just like post a picture and, just a few hashtags underneath. But it's Todd O'Neill Music on Instagram as well as Facebook, Twitter. My website is ToddO'NeillMusic.com, and they can check out all my touring schedule and stuff like that on there.
Now, are you the guy who answers on the social medias, or do you have help with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
I get help with graphics here and there, but because I'm not a graphic designer or anything like that. But yeah, absolutely. If you message me, it's going to be me. It's not going to be somebody else. Awesome.
That's awesome. It's nice to know that people can connect with you. And I'm sure, when you're putting out this new music and stuff, they're reaching out to you, like telling you how it's maybe you're telling someone's story or how much they like the song or whatever. I'm sure you're getting some feedback with your music that way.
Right.
Through.
Absolutely. And that's the fun part is like interacting with your audience is so cool because, I might get messages from somebody that says, oh my goodness, like Love Again is my favorite song or something like that. Like, how would you not want to retrieve that connection, So that's the real cool part about social media and actually interacting.
Yeah. And keeping that in mind, as you get up to that Rascal Flatts caliber, at some point, just, keeping your fans in mind because, it's always the fans that make the artists and it's the artists that make the DJs. That's the way I always like to think of it. It all boils down to the fans because if the fans don't like your music, I wouldn't have anything to play. So
that's right.
I always appreciate, the domino effect there of how it works. So thank you to you guys for doing what you do and making people happy and touching them and with your music and all that kind of stuff. So good kudos going out there. So we're going to wrap this up here shortly. I don't want to keep you too much longer. A couple quick things, though. I want to play a couple more songs from you. And I know you had an album out I believe it was October of 2017 that had some great tunes on it. So I'd like to play one when we say goodbye. And then I want to play one at the end of the show, which is a couple of hours from now. Because as my audience knows, this whole show gets recorded and we play it back on Sunday if anybody missed it today. And at the end of my show today, I like, hey, if you missed information about Todd O'Neill, here's another one of his tunes. So think of that and tell me what songs you'd like me to play. But while you're thinking of that, any wink, wink, nudge, nudge of what people should be looking out for in 2018 from Mr. Todd O'Neill?
Well, hopefully we picked a single out of these three that we just recorded. And, probably getting back a little more to the country side of things.
Okay.
So, we had a great time with Love Again and, rocked it up. Kind of got a little funky there, but I'm looking forward to getting back to the country side of the music.
So you're going to be putting out some new music soon. Is this just a single first and then getting into maybe an album later? Yeah,
I think what we're doing is we recorded three new songs.
Okay.
And it's going to be the works of an album.
Okay. Awesome.
Eventually. So, but we don't want to keep anybody waiting. We're ready to get some new music out there and stay fresh.
All right. So your fans can be looking forward to some brand new music coming from this guy in 2018. And you'll just have to be paying attention to his website, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook page. All the links are also on the website. So it's ToddO'NeillMusic.com. If you're looking for the links or you can't find them or whatever, you can grab a hold of all those that way as well. So what song would you like to end the interview with? And can you tell us a little bit about it off that album that you had back in October of 2017?
Sure. This is probably one of my favorite songs to play live because it's my She Done Me Wrong song, and everybody has been done wrong before. So it's called I Got Your Number. It's probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And this is also actually the song that landed us the opportunity to work with Big Machine Label Group.
Okay.
And ultimately to, get in touch with Jay DeMarcus. And it's just kind of an old soul song. And it's very self-explanatory, actually, if you listen to it. It's called I Got Your Number.
Okay. All right. And this is coming off your Somewhere Between Bourbon and Beale.
Right.
And that's
Somewhere Between Bourbon and Beale, yeah.
As in streets.
Bourbon Street and Beale Street. Yeah, absolutely right.
Okay, just checking. And again, you guys can look this up. Also, the information to find this is on across the electronic medias. Is this album out on hard copy?
It is.
Okay.
It is, yeah. Right now, you can get it on the website, and you can also, catch us at a live show and pick one up there.
Okay, all right. So you can get hard copy or all the electronic platforms that you guys normally buy your music at. Just look
That's
up
right.
Todd O'Neill, Somewhere Between Bourbon and Beale. And we're going to hit that song here in just a minute. I Got Your Number, self-explanatory from the guy who wrote it, so be listening carefully. Ladies, he might have your number on this one. But Todd, it's been great and an honor and a pleasure to speak with you today. I'm glad you had the opportunity to call in and we could get connected here in February. And, you got to keep us in mind when you have something new and exciting going on. And if wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if you could put in a good word for me for Rascal Flatts, that'd be great.
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, awesome. And it has been. And I always like to have, it's a nice conversation to hear those backstories and your experiences. And I know my listening audience loves that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to cut you loose here. But real quick, we're going to end the show here in a couple of hours. You got one more song for us that we can play to remind people to listen in on Sunday, Todd?
Sure. This song is the story of my life. If there's a song, this is it. It's called I'm Gonna Do It Till I'm Dead or Famous.
Oh, gosh. Okay. That one sounds pretty self-explanatory as well. Nice. Well, you want to be listening for that song at the end of my show, guys, and then go out and get yourself a copy of this. How many songs are on this album?
It's a 10-song album.
Okay, so there's 10. There's 8 more tunes that you can get. Now, Love Again is not on this. This is out there by itself right now.
Right.
Okay. So just so people know, Somewhere Between Bourbon and Beale, and you can also get your hands on Love Again, the current single. Got new music coming from this guy in just a little while. Keep your eyes and ears open for Todd O'Neill, and that's ONEILL music.com.
Thank you for that, yeah.
And
I love when people spell it right.
Yeah. Across all the social medias, looking forward to hearing from his fans. He will be the guy reaching back to you if you have a comment or something you'd like to talk to Todd about. Anything else you want to throw out there to my listening audience real quick, Todd, before I cut you loose?
Support live music. I feel like a lot of people don't appreciate it nowadays with the younger generation. I'd like to get it out there and go support bands, go support live music.
Awesome. And those are good words of advice. People need to get out and, kind of forget about the world, even if it's for an hour and a half show, a 2-hour show, just go in and tune out your phones and tune out the internet.
That's right. Get in there and dance like nobody's watching, right?
Yeah, there you go. Because it's probably, however many people are in the venue, your closest friends. And, it could be 200 or it could be 10,000. No one's going to care, right?
Right. That's
awesome.
Right.
Well, thank you, Todd. And like I said, keep us in mind. If you're ever hanging out here in the state of Pennsylvania, we would love to see you here in our Penn Peak Radio studios. Bring your guitar, hang out with us for a little while. We'd love to see you live. If not...
I'll definitely let you know if I'm in town, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And also let me know, how to reach out to me when you got something new and exciting, especially when you get those 3 new songs out. We'll be glad to give them some airplay here at PPR.
You'll be one of the first ones to receive it. Thank you so very much for having me again.
All right. Take care, Todd, my man, and stay in touch, my friend.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye-bye.